What's up, brewskis? How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing? My name is Marco Dupa, and with me, as always, the great and powerful Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
How's it going, brewskis?
Tonight's brew is from friends of the show, frequently featured guests, Sideward Brewing Company. It's their Cowboy Crusher. And Adam will have more about that after the break. What's on tap for tonight? Old Vinny D, boy. Can't keep himself out of the news when he's making these movies. You know, a guy named Vin Diesel, I guess we should have known from the jump that he was a douchebag.
Whoa. Let's not jump to dispersions, okay?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to
it. All right. Ya Anna.
Ya Anna. And speaking of douchebags, depending on what side of the aisle you land on, old Dave C is back in the news. Dave Chappelle was doing a show at the Hollywood Bowl for Netflix, ironically.
Yeah.
And had a run-in with a fan. Is this the future of stand-up comedy that everyone's been warning us about since Will Smith? A guy cracking a joke is going to have to worry about his life being ended by a crazed fan?
Comedians aren't safe out here.
I don't know. We'll talk about that. And last but not least, a very interesting viewpoint, that was that people have been kind of kicking around with these Marvel movies is, even though these studios, Marvel and Disney, have these multi-year plans for these movies, how long of a shelf life do they really have? Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that. Just a little nice little tease, nice little Salt Bay tease for you. So, all that and maybe more, maybe less. Who knows? This is episode 353 of the One Beer In podcast.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m. takes me to a place.
Foam is your friend. Foam is your friend. That's what they say in the Czech Republic. Foam is your friend.
You're here.
This, ladies and gentlemen,
Yum, yum.
is the One Beer In podcast. The podcast where two brews crack open a brew and see where that one brew takes us.
I was going to have to pick it up for you.
Thank you guys for joining us week in, week out. We enjoy your company because we're quite lonely.
Please.
Thank you.
Talk to us.
Never leave. All right. Obi, you got a little bit more information on what we are drinking tonight?
I have a whisper of information.
All right. Well, whisper away. Tell the people what the situation is. What
This is the story of a girl. This is the Sideward Brewing Cowboy Crusher Florida Rye Lager. According to the Instagram page, it is a lager made with Florida rye. It is crisp and bready. Yeehaw. Crush it. Comes in at 5.1%, which does make it quite crushable. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
Okay.
For as much as we enjoy many of Sideward Brewing's brews, they are not much for the cold reads.
No, they're not. I think if we ever made a beer, we'd have to have like one side of the can be just a full.
Just text, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I would demand that, actually.
What kind of beer would you want to make if we let's say we did a collaboration with somebody?
Mm-hmm.
What would you want it to be?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe something a little off the beaten path. Maybe like an IPL.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you don't see a lot of collaborations do an IPL.
yeah.
They're always an IPA or usually like a lager, maybe a sour,
Sure. Just an ale.
just some kind of ale.
Right.
An IPL. I could get with that.
Maybe.
I could rock with that.
Or like a Vienna lager or something. A little bit more like specific.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A little off the beaten path.
The Piaf.
I was thinking though, because
kind of dunkel, maybe.
ooh, a dunkel.
Dunkel.
One thing that we always talk about is balance and doing something really simple but good. So, I mean, I wouldn't be against doing an IPA and just doing like a really good, like, you know.
Yeah. We could put our money where our mouths are
Right.
when it comes to an IPA. Like, this is how you do it.
Sure.
Yeah, but if we if we collaborate with somebody and then like they fuck it up, and then we have to just like put that out there and go, "This is how you do it."
Well, we'd have to be an intrinsic part of the process. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. We couldn't just slap our name on
Sure.
something.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
The only way we do it.
yeah. If we did it, I think I would like to do. You know what I'd like to do? I've thought about it a little bit. Is if we did a collaboration, it would have to be like a dual can drop, and it would just be like each one representative of the host.
Sure. Yeah, because we both kind of, you know, we bridge the spectrum of beer tastes. We meet in the middle quite often, but you have your favorites more on the stout side of things. And I have mine more on the IPA bitter side of things. So
I was going to say, like, if I had to pick one to do, well, the dual can thing would be cool. If we had to pick one together,
sure.
I would think, I like an IPL. I like that. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
If we were to do a dual one, then yeah, I think I would do a stout. I'd do a milk stout. Nitro.
Oh, so I can't enjoy it at all. Thank you. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, sorry. Not a milk stout.
What are you allergic to? Let me put as much.
But you know what? I'll do a porter. I would do a porter instead.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
we'll do.
You could do a coffee stout. I'm good with a coffee stout.
Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Oh, I have an idea. I have like a honey oat coffee stout.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like a cold brew with oat milk.
Yeah.
That could be nice.
Yeah.
Don't steal that.
Yeah.
Or do and send us some free
well,
products.
yeah, if you do it, then yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be good. But don't take my idea. Okay.
Honey Nut Beerios.
Honey Nut Beerios. Honey Nut Beerios.
Writes itself.
There you go.
Let us
It's
know if you're
right
listening.
there. The brand man strikes again. I got to listen to the Black Star album. Shout out to the Commission Beer Chamber here in Orlando, Florida.
Still haven't been.
Really? You just
Yeah.
haven't? What?
I haven't been. I've never gone. I've never gone with you. I've never gone with anyone.
Wow.
I haven't gone with myself.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that you had just never gone.
No. The couple of times that you invited me out, I couldn't make it, and haven't been invited since. So,
Don't.
you know, it's nice.
Don't.
It'd be nice to be invited.
Don't.
Yeah.
We could. No, we couldn't do that. I was gonna say Saturday. But we'll be at Juan's.
That's right. Maybe before. I don't know.
I'll be at work.
Ew,
Yeah.
that's
So when I
right.
get off Saturdays, I usually get cut like at like 7. Prelims are already going on. I mean, the main card starts at 10. We could pop over there for like a beer or two. You check it out.
Maybe.
We're gonna talk to Juan. Juan,
Yeah.
friend of the show.
Yes, we were planning on watching the UFC.
Yeah, we can finally all sit in the same room.
Boys' night.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Here. Probably fall asleep.
Yep.
You know.
But for me, all I gotta do is get up and walk home.
It's true.
So shout out to Benny at the Commission Beer Chamber. Was playing the album. He played it like 10 times. Like just over and over and over again.
Get the subscriptions worth.
Yeah. I mean, it was only I think it's only 9 songs. It's a short album.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's really good. Is it? I mean, I was listening to it at a bar while people are talking and I was talking and we're like hanging out and stuff, and I'm trying to listen and get like fully engaged with it, but you know, it's hard to really take it in.
Sure.
So
was it like an event for like a listening party?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not going to compare it to anything yet or say how good it is as far as like how does it compare to the first album or excuse me, whatever.
Sure.
I will say I enjoyed it, what I heard. I will say there was nothing so mind-blowingly arresting about it that, you know, I was like, holy shit. Lyrically, I can't call it because like I couldn't really hear like how deep they were getting lyrically. I mean, it just would be really fun to listen to Yasin rap again, you know. It was just good hearing his voice. Like, oh, cool, he's committed himself to a full album again. That's nice. His last album was The Ecstatic from like
ages ago.
Yeah, I don't even remember how old that
So
fucking
20 teens, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. It was 20. I want to say 2012, maybe.
If only we had a way of
If
looking
only
that up.
we had a way of looking it up. Oh wow!
Wow, 2009.
Even younger.
Yeah, I
Even
felt like
younger.
it was like 2013 maybe.
That was ages ago.
That was a long time ago.
2009. So, yeah, it was good. Is it worth? I'm still on the. I don't think that it's worth the Luminary subscription
Yeah.
and that whole deal.
I mean, nothing's really worth a subscription to an entire platform, right? There's not like a killer app for most things, I feel.
No, the thing is, and this guy that I was talking to at the bar about it, there's a thing that I'm sure you've. I can't remember the phrase that he used. Off something, switching. I forgot what he said, but it's a marketing term, wherein somebody tries to do a thing to get you to switch off of whatever thing you're comfortable with.
Sure.
And the way that they
Yeah.
do it is by like selling you on a thing.
Yeah.
And that's what Black Star tried to do with this, but it just failed. And I think for multiple reasons. Number one, they picked the wrong platform.
Well, it's a podcast app, right?
Yeah, it's
like
a
it's
podcast
primarily
app.
a podcast app.
Yeah, and the way that you listen to that, like it's like an episode of a podcast. So you click on the album, and it's a 30-minute timestamp. So you have to sit there and listen to the whole thing, which I don't have a problem with because I listen to albums all the way through. But you know, it's just this thing. It's just so insulting when an artist or artists do a thing like, if you were a real fan, you would, and it's like, go fuck yourself.
Which unfortunately has been the messaging around this.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff coming out.
Yeah.
From like Talib, and I think from like the official Black Star like pages and stuff, saying like it's finally out, and you know, if you really care about it, you'll go out, and we appreciate you going out and getting your Luminary subscription.
Yeah. It's like, come on, bro.
No.
And
you know what's gonna happen? This album's gonna come and go.
Yep.
And nobody's gonna remember it.
They put out a single like 3 weeks ago that just it barely registered on the Richter scale. Like no one even. This is Black Star we're talking about. 24 years since their album. They reunite. People have been clamoring for this thing. They release a single, and you can't even listen to the single. The single. Why wouldn't you at least put the single everywhere? So at least drum up some interest. Get people to go, oh, shit, no way. Then you go, did you like that? What about downloading Luminary? And then, like, you know, a lot of people still tell you to go fuck yourself, but you may drum up some interest of people who would. There's people that I've talked to personally who don't even know what Luminary is. let alone that their album is on there, let alone that they have a podcast on there, let alone that the only way to listen to the album is to listen to it on Luminary.
Yeah.
So you've already got these so many degrees of separation to get you to the thing. It's like you've made it so difficult for the casual fan. And it's like, well, it's not for casual fans, it's for real fans. All right, but you made it difficult for them too.
Yeah. You made it hard for everyone, really.
Yeah.
Much harder than it should be.
Much harder.
This needs to be a very smooth process for people. Make it as easy as it can possibly be to get people to sample the goods, see where they're supposed to buy it, and then buy it.
Yeah. I think those ads are, every time you go to a website and those ads are all in your face. And you can't fucking escape them. They're all, you click on one thing and it's like, gotcha, that wasn't actually an X. That was a thing to take you to this website. Obviously, it's done on purpose. They make that shit way easy. Can you imagine if all of those pop-up ads were from things that you wanted?
Yeah.
And you were just on like a website and then you clicked on an X on accident and then it was like, you know those shorts you were looking at? Boom, right here on sale.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. No way.
That's the dream of cookies, like that's what it's meant to do.
That's what they want them to do, but
doesn't work out that way.
No, nothing ever does. So, I don't know. Hopefully, one day they put the album out on all streaming platforms, or, it just falls into my lap somehow. I don't know.
Oops.
Or they make a physical copy of it.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be perfectly fine by me, like I said before. Just give me the opportunity to buy the album if you really want my money.
Yeah.
I'm fine giving it to you guys. Just let me give it to you and let me own it.
Yeah, I want to give you my money.
Yeah.
Okay? Take it.
Stop
Take it.
making
I
this
want
so
to give
hard.
It to you. Right? Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. You guys know, if you've listened to this podcast, how we feel about the Fast series. We're practically part of the family at this point.
I consider myself among the family.
Yeah. And so it is heartbreaking to see such turmoil
in the family.
Nobody wins when the family feuds, as they say. And yet, the patriarch of our family just can't seem to keep his head on straight.
His bald, his shiny head.
Vin Diesel, the mastermind behind the Fast series, and Justin Lin, who was the director of the past 5 movies, had a blow-up fight over reportedly the script. And Justin Lin said that the script was done. We're good. We have a movie. And Universal and Vin Diesel were like, no. There's no spaceships. Where are the spaceships? We're not riding on dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I don't understand. This is not what we agreed upon at all. They had a big blow-up fight, and Justin Lin was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
I'm out.
Sorry, bud. See you later.
And quit the movie mid-production. They were 10 days into making the movie. Which, by the way, I don't know anything about making movies, but how was the script not done? 10 days into the start of production, they're still working on the script?
I mean, there's probably a script, but I get the feeling Justin Lin was going in and going, this isn't going to work, man. We gotta change this a little bit.
No, he's the one who said it was done. They wanted to change it.
Well, then the opposite. It was done, probably approved, and then, once you're in shooting, old Vinny D comes in and goes, but do you think Dom would?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that Vin Diesel is like, listen, I'm in the head of Toretto. Okay?
I am Dominic Toretto.
I know what he would think in this situation.
He would never get punched.
Ever.
Not once.
Not once.
Not without murdering the other
makes
man.
Me bleed my own blood. How do you even continue on? They've done so much retconning. It's like they have to keep up with it in the same way that the Marvel universe has to keep up with their entire ethos. Because they've done so like they, you know.
But even worse because, you know, they've been in it. I would compare it more to like what Star Wars has done and what, there's another franchise I'm trying to think of.
There's only a handful of them.
It's true. Well, definitely Star Wars.
Definitely
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where it just seems like there's not a real vision going through the entire arc of this story. It's like, and you know, mind you, some of that's not entirely their fault. They obviously didn't know one of their stars was going to die.
Yeah.
Like in this incredible climax of these movies, just getting better and better. But you know, I feel like on top of that, they've just made some really boneheaded decisions as far as retconning things and just not really explaining why characters are coming back and, you know, like just having you kind of go, well, I have to accept that this is what's happening and, you know, I'll have a good time, which is fine. I'm not talking shit about the series as a whole. It's still been enjoyable.
Yeah.
But that being said, as also a film snob, it's lacking in this coherent, overarching vision for, you know, this is plot A, B, and C, and this is where we're going to land the ship here at the end of the day. It's like, we're kind of putting the train tracks ahead of us as we're going.
Yeah.
You know?
You could very easily, if you wanted to, just look at these films and go, no more. We have chosen to enjoy these films for what they are, and just let the ridiculousness just rain down on us and just enjoy it. But you could take the other side of that and be like, there's no way that you're allowed to bring Han back. You don't get to do that. You don't get to have the emotional heft of losing that character just to bring him back whenever you want because he's a fan favorite.
Because people want him back.
Yeah, you don't get to do that.
Sure. The fact that people want him back shows that, you know, you did a good job with the character. And then there were stakes and
be proud of that.
It's good.
that like that's life. Things happen. Like, you're telling me that the only way that a guy can be written off this fucking series is to actually die in real life?
And not even because he's
because he's still alive. He's actually alive in the series. So they're doing everything in their power to keep his name in these movies, which, by the way, good for you, Vin. But at the same time, he's not going to be... Well, then again, I read somewhere that like Vin Diesel was trying to figure out a way to get him in the movies, like using his brothers as body doubles like they did. And then like if there was any way to... But it's like, Vin, please. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe Justin Lin was like, listen...
We're not doing it.
And Vin's just like, we got to try. For Pablo, we got to try. It's not good.
I can only imagine.
It's not good. I just can't forgive them for it's really still hard for me to forgive that they took all of the balls from all of the badness from Dom Toretto. Like everything that he does now is justified. And it's like the one thing that he was running from for the entire series really was that boneheaded decision that he made when he was younger, beating that guy half to death with a socket wrench.
Right.
And then they retconned that out, made it seem justified. Like everything.
Yeah, it was one of the worst things in this entire series of films.
Terrible. I can forgive a lot of things, but that to me is a little unforgivable.
It's real bad.
It's tough. So,
quick correction. Justin Lin did Tokyo Drift.
That's what I thought.
That's Fast and Furious, Fast 5, and Fast and Furious 6. Then for Furious 7, James Wan jumped in.
Okay.
Then Fate of the Furious was Gary Gray. Then he came back for F9, and he was supposed to be in for.
So he did the best ones.
10. Yeah, he really did. He really did. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Except for Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah. No.
Who directed that? John Singleton, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the king, but you know,
not.
No, we're not doing that.
Sounds like you're disrespecting the king.
He made better movies.
Did he though? Has he? Has he done anything better than Too Fast, Too Furious? Biker Boys? Biker Boys is just like a spiritual sequel to Too Fast, Too Furious.
I wish he crossed those two.
Yeah, I would
Those
say we're in
two
the same
streams.
universe. I choose to believe that they are. I know he did Boys in the Hood.
Of course, Poetic Justice is better. Higher Learning's better.
No. Too Fast, Too
The
Furious.
remake of Shaft is better.
Too Fast. No, fuck no.
Baby Boy's better.
Baby Boy might be better.
Four Brothers is better.
Four Brothers. Man, John Singleton. Rest in peace. He seemed like a good guy, but those movies are dog shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a good filmography.
He doesn't.
Wowee.
But he had Boys in the Hood. And that's
Did
all
have
that matters.
Boys in the Hood. And that, yeah.
He only needed to have Boys in the Hood.
That's right. He could have like rested on those laurels for the rest of his career. I think he kind of did, honestly, if we're thinking. If we're
Basically.
looking at
Basically.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Is Poetic Justice just the prequel to Baby Boy? Because Baby Boy, it was supposed to be Tupac. The movie was written for Pac.
I mean, it might be. I don't know. I haven't put those two things together, but...
Well, anyway, here we are with Justin Lin, not James Wan or F. Gary Gray.
Uh-huh.
Justin Lin's back in the fold after successfully returning to the series. And just as quickly as he came back, he's out. And it's reportedly costing Universal $1 million a day to find his replacement. Although, I don't know if they've officially hired that guy, the new guy. Did you see that they brought?
Yeah, I saw his name even on the Wikipedia.
What did you Google about Baby Boy? No way.
Is Baby Boy a sequel?
They can't do a
Instead,
part two.
we got news that they're trying to make a Baby Boy too.
I hope to God. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say this about the Fast and the Furious series. When Paul Walker died, that movie 8 or 7? Was it 7 or 8? I think it was 8. Was he in 7?
There's so many of them that they all kind of mush together.
Yeah. I think it was 8. No. 7 was the one that 7 was his last appearance, because 8 is when they bring in Charlize Theron.
Right.
So it was 7. That was fine. That was enough. That was the climax of the film series. It could have ended there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Everything else feels like DLC to the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's still a good time, but it ain't the same.
Yeah.
It's missing something. I think that was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that was our sentiment leaving the last one, 9. Feeling like something was missing.
Yeah.
And us kind of coming to the strange observation that not having Paul Walker there, it leaves this void.
Yeah.
In the entire thing.
And all they've been trying to do is replace him with, old white dude or young white dude or, but they can't.
The Eastwood boy.
Yeah. The Eastwood boy. So let me address my douchebag comments from the intro.
Okay.
If you're looking at this series as a whole, it really feels like he's the common denominator in like every controversy that happens. It's always his fault, or not his fault, but he's always involved somehow.
Yeah.
And how do you get Dwayne Johnson, one of the most charming men on the planet, how do you get him so riled up that he's like, you know what? I'm going to turn down multiple millions and an increase in my star power, if you can believe that my star power can increase.
Right.
I'm going to turn all that down because you are just so difficult to work with.
You're that insufferable.
Can you imagine?
Imagine.
And then they said, these are rumors, but reportedly he shows up late. He doesn't learn his lines. He's out of shape. And you can believe that last one because that boy getting fat. Take it from me. I know what getting fat looks like. And that boy getting fat. He's older.
He is older. Yeah, you have to expect him to,
That's fine.
Not be as big as he once was.
But nobody told him
muscular-wise.
to change the wardrobe into wearing nothing but wife beaters,
Yeah.
A shirts, tank tops, whatever.
Sure.
He's the one who decided that Dom Toretto's attire is going to be solely white pants, boots, and a wife beater.
Yeah, an occasional bedazzled button-up shirt
Yeah.
buttoned to the navel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's his fault. Nobody else in the series is dressed like that. You want to keep showing off them arms, then you need to start doing some some bicep curls and
Yeah.
some tricep dips,
Some
homie.
dips.
You need to get back in the gym. Anyway, that's on him. But the showing up late and the not learning your lines, bro, you basically are writing the movie. You like, how can you not know the lines?
Yeah, and if you want to take this much of the reins of production and the franchise itself, you have to show up for those things too.
Right.
You got to be there. You got to be this, the masthead to this entire show.
And I kind of feel like I believe these rumors because you haven't heard a fucking word from anybody else.
Yeah.
I ain't seen Ludacris say shit.
Right.
I haven't seen Tyrese on Instagram crying about anything.
Yeah. Lately.
I haven't seen Michelle Rodriguez. None of them.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody come to his defense.
Mhm.
Nobody's jumped up and been like, these rumors are unfounded. Vin is the consummate professional.
Sure.
And
At the most, you always get the same like cookie cutter. We're all family. Every family fights sometimes.
Yeah.
To me, that translates to I don't want to lose my paycheck.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy's kind of a dick.
absolutely.
I
No,
don't
Brie
know.
Larson is in the movie now, and so is Jason Momoa. We
Why?
haven't heard shit from them. So Jason Momoa is
Why?
apparently the villain who's going to turn into the good guy, obviously.
The Rock replacement.
Yeah.
We're doing that again.
The Rock replacement. Yeah. They're like, we just need. Didn't we say this? Like, we just need. They just looked out the door and they were like, who's the next?
Next giant brown guy. Come on.
Get in here.
You're up.
Bonus points because he's also Polynesian.
Mm-hmm.
Polynesian. That sounds like such an old people thing to call a Samoan.
Yeah.
He's a Polynesian.
It's one of these guys. Like the sauce. The Chick-fil-A sauce.
It's crazy. I didn't know it was from Hawaii. So it kind of leaves them in limbo. Their reported first choice to replace Justin Lin is not, McG, which we all hoped it would be,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
or Director X.
Uh-huh.
It is, I don't even know how to say his last name. John something. I would have hoped that you had it pulled up already. What are you doing?
I didn't get the cue fast.
No, because you were too busy Googling, is Baby Boy a sequel?
You got me thinking.
Louis Leterrier. I don't know how to say that.
Louis Leterrier.
Louis Leterrier. Nice. Good job.
Yeah.
Louis
or
Leterrier.
it may be Leterrier because he's French.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Is he actually French?
Yes, he's a French film director and producer
French.
whose films
Leterrier.
include the first two Transporter movies. So he's that going for him.
Oh.
And Unleashed. The Jet Li movie.
That movie sucks.
It has a couple of good scenes, but it's not very good.
That movie sucks, and Transporter 2 does not hold up either.
No, of
just
course
watched
not.
it the other day.
No.
It's
No.
terrible.
The first one's the only one.
First one is still good.
Yeah.
The second one,
I saw the
wow.
second one on a date. And it was
What was his name?
Being gay is not a joke, Marco.
Sorry. You're right. That was old school. That was not
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
It was not cool.
Yeah. I'll let you clean up your own mess.
I'm sorry. That wasn't cool.
So I saw it during on a date, I should say, and it was a bad choice. Very bad choice.
Yeah.
Because I remember the bad CG and
Yeah.
a car doing a flip
Yeah.
and knocking a bomb off the bottom
Yep. It does a barrel roll.
of a crane, I think.
Yes. He drives. He sees the bomb in a puddle, and he's like, "Oh no, they've rigged my car." And yes, he goes off a thing, does a barrel roll, and uses the crane,
Uh-huh.
and that knocks the bomb off. And then the car goes woo 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 woo, and then he just lands
so
on all
bad.
four tires, and he's fine.
So bad. Yeah. I felt real dumb after taking a date to that movie.
Yeah. Hey, well, how could you know?
Yeah.
It's one of those. I mean, it's a dumb beat 'em up. I would probably, depending on what date it was, I'd probably be making out with her at halfway through. I probably wouldn't even seen the bomb scene. You would hope.
I was never that kind of guy.
No?
No.
That kind of guy? Fuck you. What does that mean? Don't make me feel
I
bad.
don't like to pressure the ladies.
I didn't pressure.
Unlike some people, I didn't
pressure
I don't know. Okay.
them.
Yeah.
It was never pressure.
Yeah.
You just do the...
Sure, bud. Yeah. No,
you
I
just grab him by the collar.
I got enough of a thrill of a handhold back in those days. It's nice. You know, when you're feeling, you get the little pinky affirmation, and like they don't move their hand once it's there, and then you get like that, and you're like, oh, this is okay, this is working out. Yeah. And then you just kind of make the move over.
Yeah.
And you just get the little tingles because it's nice.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I think that happened during that movie.
Yeah.
The reason I wouldn't make out during a movie is because
too much of a film snob. You don't want to.
Yes, that's exactly right. So I'm actually too busy watching the movie.
Yeah. I get that.
Also, Catholic guilt.
Yeah.
So you can't do that in public.
You are disgusting.
Sorry.
Yeah. I get that.
But yes.
Yeah.
Don't recommend it for first date.
So his track record is thus: Unleashed, the two Transporter movies,
The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Clash of the Titans, the remake, obviously. And Now You See Me.
Now You See Me?
Yeah.
He directed that?
I guess. Huh. Yeah. The first one, not the second one.
Those movies suck. Like his whole filmography is dog shit.
The first Transporter.
Hulk. Oh, and the first Transporter.
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk's pretty good.
Yeah.
Long forgotten MCU movie.
Sure.
Very the neglected redheaded stepchild of the MCU.
Fell through the cracks.
People still talk about the first Thor movie more than they talk about, because it was just such an afterthought. It was a movie made where they were like, are we going to do this thing? Are we really going to do this?
Yeah.
You know, they were still like,
yeah,
I don't know. And then they fucking...
Ed's looking a little skittish here. I don't know if he wants to stick around.
Right,
so.
yeah. Man, Edward Norton. You can say whatever you want, Edward Norton. You fumbled the bag harder than I think anyone has fumbled the bag.
That. He has to know
He knows, but he pretends like he's like, yeah, you know, I did what I wanted to do with that film. And
it was the right decision at the time.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's what you say when you're hurting.
Yeah. And now he's, you know, hey, I hope he's satisfied as an artiste. But you ain't getting that MCU bag. No. You fucked that up, homie.
Who knows? Maybe he shows up in Multiverse of Madness.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I heard major spoilers are coming out from that movie, so...
Of course.
Yeah.
mean,
avoid the...
The Twitter's beloved.
Uh-huh. I don't know. It seems like he is all at once the worst choice and the perfect choice.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, kinda. He's worked with car-driven, no pun intended, movies, action movies in the past, martial arts-led movies too. So, yeah, I mean, he's an action-forward director, so there's that.
Yeah, he's got an eye for action.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely a spotted track record, and especially to come in at this point in the process, it's like you kind of have to figure he's just filling a void to say there is a director, and to point the camera in the right direction, while Vin Diesel kind of mandates what's going on.
Yep. If you're not watching, you can't see me, but I've been nodding the entire time because that's exactly my sentiments on this. He is a space filler.
Sure.
There's no way that a movie stops production because the biggest star of the movie / executive producer is arguing with the director. So that director walks, and then this guy's going to come in and fucking run the show?
Yeah.
No way. No way. It's like any coach that has to coach LeBron James. You're just there because they need some guy to call a coach, but you're not the coach.
Right.
You're not the director.
You're not my dad.
Vin Diesel is taking over this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they just don't let him direct.
I'm sure he wants to. I'm sure he'd like to.
I bet that's part of what the fights were about. He's like, you know what, Justin? I could probably do your job, but you think you could do mine?
Mm-hmm.
Look at you. Look at me.
You're a little baby boy.
Idea. I mean, he like just mushes him in the face. Yeah. He probably didn't walk. He got pushed out.
Yeah, probably.
The fuck off my set.
Well, I get the feeling the next movie is going to be worse for the wear.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is not good news.
And Vin Diesel has already made, like, you know, that brilliant decision to, instead of stopping at 10, he was like, we're going to make 11. And you're like, why, man? What? That is so weird. Why do we need 11 of these?
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how this one does, because...
Oh, they'll still do crazy numbers. There's no way it does anything... Well, I mean, this could fuck things up,
That's
because
what
if they
I'm
lose
saying.
money on this, even if the movie's successful, like, all of this... Like, losing all of this money just to put the fucking thing back on track. Even if it does 700-800 million. Excuse me. Yeah, that could put them in a financial bind where it's like, I mean, I don't know if we can produce 2 more of these.
Yeah, I'm just saying this has bad news written all over it. And
Or 1 more of these.
if...
Wait, is this the 10th one, right?
This is
Fast
10th.
X, yeah.
Yeah.
Fast X.
X.
That's right.
If they have as much confidence as I think they do, they're going to spend as much money as they want.
Mm-hmm.
They have plenty of blank checks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And that means there's this
My ass.
a ton of money for them to make up. So even if they just break even this time, because I don't know about you, but I feel like generally the consensus is starting to be that these things have kind of, you know, run their course. It's time to move on.
I think even amongst the biggest fans, i.e. us,
Right.
it's starting to get to a point where it's like, all right, how many of these are we really
Yeah.
going to make?
Yeah. It's like a comedian that stays on stage like for 10 minutes too long. You're like,
Yeah.
All right.
Like,
Go on.
Yeah, you did your
Right.
thing. Like, just leave.
It's funny. Go ahead.
Get the hell out of here.
Go.
They would have much more success leaning into creating this ridiculous universe, this universal fast universe, or whatever they want to call it, the fast timeline. I don't know. Because when you like Hobbs and Shaw, as ridiculous as that movie is, was at least fun.
Sure.
And you got 3 of the biggest names in action in it, and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, you could do like a Ludacris and Tyrese buddy cop film where they're like partners, like I don't know, starting a business, or like start like doing that garage, but then they have to do their, like, that could be a movie in and of itself. Luda and Tyrese.
Right.
You could do the girl power movie with Michelle Rodriguez and Jordana Brewster. They could do something.
Yeah.
That would be fun to watch. So there's like, you know, you can do ton of shit, like but the overall series, like, it's really, really
Well,
more-
look,
more-
I'm gonna push back a little bit, even though I agree with you. I think that would be a good alternative to what we're getting as far as the series. My one question on this is, are any of those people, and again, I mean this with all the respect in the world, are any of these people stars that can lead a movie on their own?
No.
So I don't see that working out very well. Maybe I can see that happening for like a mini series, a Netflix style show.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem with branching off into this, fast universe, because it works when it's the ensemble,
Yeah.
But once we start picking them apart, it's kind of like, for one aspect of it, it's like the Fonzie effect, where Fonzie's great in Happy Days, but as soon as you get him alone for a while, it's like, okay, too much Fonzie.
Yeah.
He's not that cool anymore.
Right.
Some would say that, it's what happened with Boba Fett and Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's awesome on The Mandalorian, but as soon as he's the focus, it's like too much Mando. Too much Boba.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, but I think that has a lot to do with how poorly that show was written.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
That's the point.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
point.
yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if that's even an option anymore.
Yeah.
Unless we're talking like a smaller movie, which
Yeah, you decrease the budget by like 150 million.
$100 million, yeah.
And you do like a smaller
Tight,
scale. Yeah.
like, action movie or a heist movie.
Yeah, yeah. You could still do a car stunts movie,
Yeah.
$50 to $75 million budget. And if it's like an offshoot of the Fast series, I don't care if it's. I think the Luda Tyrese one would be successful if you decrease the budget and you lower the stakes,
Mm-hmm.
the financial risk of making a movie like that. Like obviously it can't be a $150-200 million movie that you're hoping does $1 billion in China. That ain't happening.
Yeah. With 2 black leads, are you kidding me?
Fuck no. Oh, did you see the thing about Spider-Man and the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, I did.
God, we can't talk about all the
we
things.
We don't have time.
We just don't have time. It's crazy though
Yeah.
that China was like, do you mind toning down the Americanness of this?
The freedom of it all.
It's so crazy that like China, they made it easy for Disney to win this one.
Sure.
Because how do you even, first of all, tone that part down? It's the climax of the movie.
Yeah. Where would you prefer it? Just like a random building?
At first, their request was to cut the entire scene out, which again, how?
Right.
Because the whole scene takes place around the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Then once I guess they realized how ridiculous that was, they were like, well, can you like cut around it and dim the lighting so that it's like that this is what was really in the request. Dim it so that it's harder to see the Statue of Liberty in these scenes, and cut out the quote unquote more patriotic moments of the movie. The scene where they land, when all 3 Spider-Men land, and it's like the Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
And it's like that iconic like thump thump thump.
Yeah.
And they were like, just cut that out. And it's like, that's an easy dub for Disney to just be like, nah.
No, we can't do that. Well, I mean, you guys do know that the Spider-Man suit is red, white, blue.
Apparently not. Apparently they don't understand that part of it. They lost, estimates are $160 to $200 million gross on that because they didn't show it in China. So Spider-Man could be, No Way Home could have been, I don't say the highest grossing movie of all time.
But up there.
But up there. It could have been like a top 3 all-time movie.
Well,
if they showed it in China.
I think that they're reaching this breaking point now. Finally, we're getting to this point. With social pressure and also just the boldness of these requests.
Yeah,
it's becoming too much.
Yeah,
the levee's starting to break.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. I think we're at this precipice of finally these major film companies saying, no, we're not going to do that. You take it as it is, or you don't take it at all.
Yeah. But I think that's only because they've gotten to a point where they're so secure financially with the app, with the success of their smaller things.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's always more money to be made, especially in China, especially in Asia,
yes.
Against Saudi Arabia and stuff.
But the risk, or the financial loss rather, of China is worth the risk because it makes them look good to the rest of us.
It's worth the PR.
Yeah.
Finally, it's worth the PR.
Financially, it is worth the PR now. Yeah, because before they had to just grovel at the feet. But now they can go, fuck you. We don't need
this
you.
Is one of the very few things nowadays that I think the left and the right can come together on and say that it's not a good thing for them to censor American-made films.
Yeah.
Or American IP at very least, in order to appease other nations that may not have the same values as we do.
Yeah, seems to be literally the only thing that we can agree on.
There's very few things nowadays I can think of that we can all agree on, but I think that's one of the few things.
Yeah.
So Yeah,
Find anybody that doesn't agree on that. You get them out of my country.
You get out.
You get out of here.
Freedom hating.
Haters. So I don't know. Let's. We're already at almost an hour
Wow.
on just
Okay.
Vinny D.
Let's move on.
Let's move along into some more controversial waters. Dave Chappelle, just saying his name now seems to be wrought with
You flinch.
controversy.
Dave Chappelle.
The man, the legend himself, doing a stand-up set for Netflix is a Joke Festival, which is, I guess, their big comedy fest. Netflix really just quadrupling down on the Dave Chappelle thing,
Oh, yeah.
which is almost admirable in the face of everything that's going on. You're like, man, you guys really are sticking to your guns on this one.
They're doing it. I can't help but have admiration for that. You know, like they are sticking by what they're saying is the right thing to do. So
Yeah.
it's impressive.
Whether you agree or disagree, it is a company that is going, no, this is how we feel.
Right. These are our values. This is what we stand by. And okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We're not going to get into all of the Dave Chappelle stuff because that's a whole other podcast.
Oh, sure. We're already an hour in. So
Yeah. But I don't know. It is crazy that people are like, Will Smith going on stage, slapping Chris Rock. All he's done is open it up for these fucking psychos to do that, and then say, Will Smith did it, and so. By the way, I just had like sort a pseudo epiphany right there.
Yeah, I saw it happen. Yeah,
that's my fucking. It is fascinating that when the argument suits some people, that how do I phrase this? Will Smith doing what he did to Chris Rock. There are people out there who say that his actions have emboldened people to do what this guy did to Dave Chappelle. Like, they directly will blame Will Smith for this, right? And it's fascinating to me that when the argument suits you, the actions of one person can embolden another person, and that is a bad thing.
Sure.
But then when the argument is, I don't know, an insurrection maybe, or Elon Musk tweeting the things that he tweets, those actions can embolden other psychos they already have on Twitter, for instance.
Sure.
And that is like, hey, man, individual freedoms. Hey, man, one person's actions can't be blamed for another person's actions, or that person's reaction to this person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just really funny to me that
there are just some crazy people out there. I don't know what to tell you.
When it suits you, when it suits your argument, they're just crazies.
Right.
Or they're not like.
I hear what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying.
There's a hypocrisy here in which you either, when it suits you, you can say that this thing happening is just a bunch of crazy people and will not be related in any way to, other people doing this again, or emboldening other people with the same views to do that. But when it doesn't, you say, well, this could cause mass hysteria.
Right.
And other people to be emboldened to do this really heinous thing.
Yeah. It's just It's just fascinating to me.
It's because people are hypocrites.
So, yeah. I still am under the belief that, like, you're never, if somebody's gonna storm a stage, they're gonna storm a stage because they're gonna storm the stage, not because they saw Will Smith do it and thought, oh, it's okay.
Right.
So this kid, I guess the rumor is, I don't know if anything's been confirmed, but he's a trans activist. Trans activist. Yeah.
Trans rights activist.
Trans rights activist. And Chappelle, like, even made a joke, like, once they got him off of him, he was like, that was a trans man. They kicked that guy's ass.
My God.
They beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Even if you felt emboldened, quote unquote, by Will Smith, maybe rethink that. Maybe take a step back and see what they did to this kid, because they whipped his ass.
Oh my God.
I think they broke both of his arms. One of them was clearly out of the socket.
Yeah.
His face was lumped to
Yeah.
shit. I mean, they
hamburger.
They went to town on this kid.
Yeah. Well, he had a fake gun on him that had a knife on it.
Which is just like, have the gun or have the knife. Why would
Yeah.
you want to like double down on like?
Well, here's my thing. Because again, I haven't heard it confirmed that he is a trans rights activist. I feel like it's very easy.
I'm not. Yeah, I would like to say I'm not saying that that's what he is. I saw rumors, but I haven't seen that confirmed either.
I think it's very easy to assume that, given the narrative. We don't know that at this point yet. It could be, it could be the case, but we don't know that at this point.
Yeah.
I just think that, like you were alluding to earlier, this was simply an unhinged person who, even if inspired by Will Smith, would have done something insane anyway.
Yeah.
Whether it was storming the stage or
Storming a Capitol. Or
sure, causing a one-man insurrection.
Yeah.
I don't buy that Will Smith has suddenly inspired a bunch of people to have their Joker moment. You know, like, that doesn't jive for me. Sure, some unhinged person may be inspired to do that based on seeing that on TV, but they would have done something anyways. My argument.
Did you see? This was a couple of months ago. The guy who attacked Seth Rollins, the wrestler.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that happen. Was there more that came out of it? Or
Yeah. So apparently the guy was tricked by somebody pretending to be Seth Rollins.
Huh.
And he thought it was the real Seth Rollins who stole money from him. So some guy sent him messages on Instagram pretending to be Seth Rollins, scammed him out of a bunch of money,
Wow.
and he thought it was the real Seth Rollins, and so attacked him for that. Can you imagine? So that's what I'm saying, dude. The people that do shit like this are out of their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I just mean that they're sick.
They're unhinged.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
in their right minds to
Right.
think, to be on Instagram and to think like Seth Rollins 34 sent you, Brian, whatever the fuck, a message asking you for money.
Yeah.
If you're a wrestling fan, you have to assume that Seth, one of the top 3 guys in the company, is doing okay financially.
He
And
wouldn't steal from you personally.
he wouldn't reach out to you at all, weirdo.
Yeah, that's true. Ugh.
So yeah, I mean it's shit like that, and this kid is clearly
Got something going on.
but then again, you know what? I'm not maybe not even give him that much credit. Maybe he's just some fucking asshole. Just did that. Maybe he's gonna come out and be like, yeah, I just wanted to attack him because fuck Dave Chappelle. Like, I'm not unhinged. I'll fight him if I see Dave Chappelle in the streets.
Yeah.
I'll fight him. And then he was just about that life that day.
Could be. I mean, I think one thing that's undeniable is that security needs to be better.
Oh yeah, that's no, and that's why part of the reason why they like stomped a mud hole in him is to kind of like they knew they fucked up,
Right.
And they were like, we're gonna make him pay for this.
You made me look stupid. I'm gonna lose this job now.
Yeah, yeah. They stomped a mud hole and walked it dry.
Yeah. I heard Jamie Foxx was involved.
Jamie Foxx got into it.
Busta Rhymes.
Dude, everybody was there. Everybody got a lick in. That's what I was laughing about earlier. I was watching this scene from Don't Be a Menace to Society. And it was that scene where they're jumping the guy and they're like, they're one guy leapfrogs over the other guy and they're like, doing elbow drops on him and doing like cartwheels and shit. And the caption was like how that guy got jumped at the Hollywood Bowl. And it was, dude, it was like everyone and their mother got a piece before he got dragged away for his own safety at that point.
Yeah, yeah. The cops were protecting him at that point.
The gun knife thing, I still can't wrap my head around.
Well, and that's what makes me think this is just an insane person.
Yeah.
That's a key,
indicator
for me that there's something wrong here. There's something wrong going on in this man's mind.
Yeah.
Because if it was somebody with somewhat more coherent thought, he would have just brought a knife, right?
Right.
Or just a gun.
Right.
Or a gun and a knife. That's what was reported first. That's what was reported first.
Right.
A man with a gun and a knife.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, that sounds really serious. It sounds like Dave Chappelle just survived like an assassination attempt.
Right.
But then you see the picture of the fake gun that has a knife like hot glued to it or something. It's like, what is happening
it's
here?
It's a good knife.
Yeah. Is this Final Fantasy VIII? Yeah, I don't know. That's a real big red flag for me.
Yeah.
Saying that this was just somebody who happened to be in the right place in the right time.
Yeah.
That, was not in the right state of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. That is. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's a strange thing to do.
Yeah.
Because he was like, he just made it harder for himself. And again, how the fuck did he get in with the knife?
Well, it
doesn't even make any sense.
They said that there were like metal detectors. Mm-hmm. Got through that, no problem.
Yeah, these motherfuckers can't have their phones out, but he got in with his knife.
Right. So that's a warning signal to everyone to tighten up that security.
For sure.
But sure. I mean, we're obviously gonna get more information the longer this gestates in the news cycle. So. By the time you listen to this, you may know more information, but
yeah,
I don't know. My money's on him being some unhinged young man.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. Apparently, he was an aspiring rapper, so maybe he was looking for some attention.
How does that aspect of it come out, but nothing else?
I don't know. I mean, I think they Googled his name.
Oh yeah,
found out
he's a young kid too. He's like 23.
Yeah. He apparently has or had a like an agent of some kind.
Oh. Oof.
But he's like a SoundCloud rapper basically. Made a song called Dave Chappelle.
Really?
Yeah, but it was apparently just it vaguely mentioned Dave Chappelle. It wasn't about Dave Chappelle.
Okay. Like what a lot of rappers. Well, shit, like I do that sometimes.
Sure. Yeah. Like you say it once in your song, and you call it Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Basically.
Like it's just
or it's on the hook.
Recognition.
Yeah. It's on the hook. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, very weird story, obviously, but
very weird.
I don't think this is the beginning of this spring of attacks on comedic geniuses on stage.
Nobody tell Brian Redband. He might shit himself.
Yeah. One of the things, obviously once I saw that Dave Chappelle was fine, the first thing I thought was like, ugh, we're going to hear about this for so long.
Oh, yeah, dude.
On every podcast and every stand-up comic's Instagram page is going to be flooded with fear-mongering.
That's the other thing about doing shit like this is like, even if, let's say his goal was to kill Chappelle.
Sure.
I mean, I guess asking an idiot to think his plan through is asking a little too much. But imagine if you were successful in your assassination attempt. Mm-hmm. You just make him a martyr, and you just embolden. That's going to be the key word of this episode.
Yeah.
We'll just call this episode
Embolden.
You just embolden the people who supported him.
Sure.
You're not changing anybody's opinion, and you're certainly not changing his because he's dead.
Yeah.
So
I made a terrible mistake.
And then you fail miserably, hilariously.
Right.
And now you look like an idiot, and all you have done now is given him more ammo.
Right. This is probably the worst case scenario for if somebody was trying to prove some point.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Like it's foolish. Foolish.
Yeah.
See, assassinations of like presidents and stuff actually make sense because they're policy holders, and I'm not saying I want to do it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying that the idea behind a successful assassination attempt of a politician makes sense.
Right.
Because that person actually is a policy changer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they're in power. They're a figurehead.
Yeah. So you take out somebody who's actually going to elicit some kind of change. That's one thing. But like figures, celebrities, people who represent an idea, you can't kill an idea, Batman. So why you can't? All you're going to do is just make it greater.
Yeah.
By you can only come at an idea with a better, more sound idea or counter argument. It's the only way to combat something like that. Symbolism is so hard to fight.
Yeah.
Killing it, you can't kill it. There's no snuffing out something like that.
You can only kill an idea by having a better idea.
Right. And so if your better idea was to kill a comedian, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, dum-dum.
Yeah.
And you are a dum-dum.
A big dum-dum.
I don't care what side of the aisle you land on politically, you're an idiot. So.
Amen, sister.
All right. I think Dave Chappelle's got enough defending.
Yup.
One last thing that we have to, that was interesting. This off. Actually, I guess we could have like smoothed our way into this with the MCU talk earlier.
That's all right.
Whatever.
We don't do that.
No.
Who needs a segue?
Remember, the old school segues were just segue. Segue. We're living in a pretty interesting time with these MCU movies, with Hollywood in general, really.
Yeah.
And
You're right there?
yes,
Okay.
someone was talking about the latest MCU film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and how, I guess the original tweet was that they were wondering how much they needed to catch up on to even understand.
Yeah, the original tweet was from the Hollywood Reporter. It is as follows: Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, a guide for what to know before you go. So there's an entire article written up as far as what plot points you need to know from the MCU in case you missed any TV shows or movies, which there are many.
And then someone quote tweeted that with something that I thought was kind of fascinating. I'm sure you have that pulled up.
I do have it pulled
You
up.
want to just read that?
Sure. This is from Jesse Hawken, at Jesse Hawken on Twitter. These films will be completely indigestible to future audiences. How does one approach one of these movies in the year 2075 without all the prerequisites? Meanwhile, Jaws will be turning 100 that year and will be instantly accessible to audiences.
And I haven't been able to stop thinking about that
Yeah.
since you showed me that. Because I've been like, Rubik's cubing this thing, and it's I don't know. It's really amazing like where we are in pop culture.
Yeah.
Because how inclusive and exclusatory the MCU is right now.
Yeah.
Because if you're in it, everyone loves to be in it, and we love each other in it, and it's like this big fan club filled with like 3 billion people. But the people who are the outliers of it, who aren't in it, it's like, what is the point of entry? And we're just looking at them from inside the club going, you can't get in.
Well, and that's part of the appeal, though, is it not? Like you're part of an insiders club of know-it-alls,
right?
Like
you're in this fraternity of 3 billion people. So.
Yeah, exactly. We're all nerds in here, man.
Yeah. If everyone's a nerd, then nobody is.
I mean, there's a hierarchy. Obviously, it's like, okay, I watch all the movies, but I don't watch all the TV shows, or I've read the comic books, I've watched the movies, and I've watched the TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I listen to podcasts analyzing the shows and movies. Like
that's how much content that there is.
Yeah.
That there is now, like you said, a hierarchy of like how committed a fan are you really?
How deep do you go, man?
How deep do you go, indeed? But the point stands that there are classic blockbuster just smash movies, masterpieces, things that are within the pantheon of what it means to make American cinema that you can approach with no backstory, sit down and just enjoy those films. But another aspect of this is clearly from someone who has a problem with superhero movies as a genre. I think in the tone of the text, it's pretty clear that he has an issue. He takes issue with the MCU and its proliferation, I guess. Yeah. To the point that he's like, you know, how do you even approach these movies? And it's like, the point of entry is not that hard. Yes, we are far along in this, but yeah, you'll miss some references, some in jokes and things like that. I think your experience is bolstered by understanding everything that came before it. But I don't know, has there been an MCU movie so far that you watched and hasn't been at least explained enough for you to enjoy that movie within the movie?
Yeah, I think so. I think the issue here is, from what I've read in reviews for Multiverse of Madness, it is very much necessary to go through those prerequisites.
So this is like the first movie in which I'd be dead wrong, in that you do need to have seen like
from what I've read, it seems like this is very much like an in movie. You know, that you need to be inside this sphere of influence of the MCU. Yeah. And the more that you've seen, especially the TV shows and stuff, the more you'll kind of get out of it. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like my view of this, because I'm right there with you. As soon as I read that, I was like, has a point. Yeah. How are we going to deal with this? You know, I mean, when our great grandchildren are going back into cinema history, and looking at the MCU for whatever it becomes.
You have to sit them down and like play an entire box set.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, I think the solution to this is people are going to view them as essentially like TV shows. So you're gonna have like this anthology of so much stuff to get into, and you know, even if let's say you really just want to show them, I don't know, Thor Ragnarok, you're like, I want you to experience this, but you should also watch all of these too. Yeah. You know? And I don't think that it's that hard of an ask to do that, but at the same time, you got to expect there's going to be some kind of like prologue that you can put on and be like, this is what happened to catch you up to the story at this point. It's like any other series. It's like it's like let's say it's a book series. You say the third book in the series is the best. Yeah. The first two are okay. Yeah. You know, you still show them the entire series. Yeah. Or you say, this is what happens in books 1 and 2. Enjoy. Yeah. You know?
But is that not exactly the point? This person is upset that like they're and again, I think we both at least surface level agree with like his overall point.
Sure. Yeah.
But the counterpoint to that is like, it's like any other series. Right. You can't just jump into Game of Thrones season 7. Yeah. Right? You can't just open up a book, third book in. So why would you expect to be able to watch a movie that's based upon 10 years of other movies? Now, I guess the only difference is this is the first time in the history of cinema where a thing is based on a thing 10 years, 15 years prior to it, and that thing is still going as opposed to being based on. Right. So that is the difference. But you wouldn't use this argument against Godfather 3, right?
Well, I wouldn't watch Godfather 3, but you know.
Right. But you would still watch that movie and say, or Godfather 2 rather, and you would still need to watch Godfather 1. So you wouldn't be upset with Godfather 2 existing.
Right. Yeah, you know, I think the more that, again, you view the MCU as almost a TV series, the easier it is to swallow.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask you this. Does the MCU have a movie on the level of Jaws? Because I don't think it does.
Quality-wise?
Yeah. Classic-wise. I don't think there is a movie on the level of all-time stone-cold classic that will be, gilded in the halls of filmmaking of all time. At least not yet. There are some great movies in there, very enjoyable movies. But I mean, maybe I'm putting my film snob hat on, but I just don't think anything quite lives up to something like Jaws.
Yeah. And boy, I have Jaws fresh in my mind too, from having watched it like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And man, it's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm not saying anything no one doesn't know, but
Wait, Jaws is a good movie?
but I mean, you really you have to watch that movie as an adult,
Yeah.
as people in the 70s did. Like people our age, like if you saw it like, just saw it as a kid and you're just like vaguely aware of what it was about, like, oh, it's that classic shark movie from the 70s.
Right.
Like, nah, dude. Jaws is incredible. Yeah. It is an incredible feat of filmmaking in every way, shape, and form. So to answer your question, no.
So why are we worried? Why are we worried about this?
Well, yeah, we shouldn't be, but that's my point entirely. I do agree that, like, yeah, it's gonna, like, the point of entry is weird and like where we are in cinema is strange and all this stuff. But then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, who gives a shit?
Sure.
Because the people who want to understand Doctor Strange, like, if you just woke up one day and you were like, didn't watch any of that other bullshit, but like this Benedict Cumberbatch movie, I think I'm gonna watch this, and then you sat down for 2.5 hours and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That's kind of your fault.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
You don't get to watch, The Last Jedi and then be upset because you don't know the fucking characters.
I don't get it.
Yeah, that's not their fault.
Yeah.
And you can still go back and watch Jaws.
Sure.
And we are still making movies that stand on their own.
So what I was going to say is it's not like singular, like, one time, I would say classics aren't still being made.
Yeah.
To this day.
Still being made.
Yeah. Really interesting, no explanation needed movies.
Yeah.
Like Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which, like I said, I will continue to stump for until it's out of theaters.
Yeah, I think at this point, I think you need to make a reference to it.
I will.
Black Superman.
Black Superman.
Every episode now that you can remember.
I will.
Even with the MCU, like, people will say Endgame is like the best in the series so far. I don't even think that's the best Avengers movie. I think Infinity War is better than Endgame, and I'll argue that.
Yeah.
Forever. I think Infinity War is better than Endgame.
I agree. I don't necessarily think that's a controversial take.
I mean, but when you see people talk about the Marvel, like the last phase, they always put Endgame. They always say Endgame, and I'm like, I don't even think.
It's just because it's the conclusion, though. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I kind of take those movies as one anyway.
Yeah.
It's like a parts 1 and 2.
They were supposed to be.
Yeah.
People don't remember this.
Right.
They don't talk, or rather, they don't talk about it because for some reason it's like taboo now to pretend like, because they want these two movies to stand on their own, and they don't want us to view them like Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2, when in fact
that's
these
exactly
movies,
what it is.
Yes, it's supposed to be Infinity War 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. Endgame is its own thing. Yeah. It's like, no, it's not.
We changed the name, guys. This has its own name.
It's a direct sequel. It happens like months after the film. Like it picks up right where it was. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get what this guy is saying, and I agree. But at the same time, I don't know, man. Go and watch the fucking Marvel movies. They're fun and they're easy to watch. I think the easiest film series to get through.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're of our generation where you grew up with, all the Marvel animated series and comic books, and wow, that splooged all over me. It's made for our generation. So, I can't sit here and say that anyone else will necessarily get as much as we do out of it. But
Fuck.
told you. Comics have been around a long time, though. So
Yeah, and these movies are basically just living comics.
right.
And so if you're afraid of the point of entry for these films, imagine trying to fucking pick up comic books.
That's exactly right.
So,
Or Naruto.
or Naruto.
Any anime.
Yeah.
Any shonen anime.
Yeah. Nerd culture is hard to get into if you're not there from the beginning.
Well, isn't that kind of the point? You know, it's from its inception. Nerd culture has been.
It's been.
It's been forced to be inclusive because it has almost by nature been this outsider thing until now.
Yeah.
Now it's changed.
Right. And now people are going, I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And others are going, no, you can't be a part of this.
Right.
Because you'd have to watch 30 movies. And you ain't put the work in like I put the work in.
But you know what? I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who freaking drenched. Plenty of people out there who don't watch the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
maybe missed a movie here and there that still will go out and have a great time this weekend to see Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Because it's still characters you know, generally. And you get the gist eventually.
Yeah.
And you get wrapped up in the story. You know?
And they explain it, man. They get into it.
Yeah, you get enough.
Like, imagine watching the Spider-Man movie without having seen either one of the other Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
I think that you can... You obviously... You don't understand why people cheered when Andrew Garfield showed up, but you understand that this is a multiverse movie, and those are Spider-Mans
Yeah.
from different universes. You don't need to have seen 100 movies to understand that.
And I will say they play off hinting at those Spider-Mans pasts, their own stories, without giving you like this entire dump of info that you don't need. They talk about it very lightly. How's your Mary Jane? And like things like that help flesh out the character, even though even if you haven't seen those movies, you kind of get the idea.
Yeah. Having seen those movies, you can go, oh, he's talking about his Mary Jane, which is what's her fucking face? I forgot her name. And you know, oh, it's so heartfelt and sad, blah blah blah. But you still get that emotion, from watching the movie.
Did you forget Kirsten Dunst?
No. Emma Stone's character.
Oh no,
who she plays.
That's
yeah, it's a different chick.
Hold on. What was her name? Of course.
Gwen Stacy.
Yes. I was gonna say Felicia, but I'm like, no, it's not Felicia.
It ain't Felicia. No. Yeah, no. I meant that scene where he's like, yeah, Gwen was my MJ. Like you don't need to know who Gwen Stacy is. You don't need all that context to understand the emotion that he's eliciting. He obviously lost her somehow.
Yeah. It's very heavily hinted that it ended tragically.
Yeah.
And so him saving, by the way, spoilers for the entire movie.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fuck you, unless you're listening from China.
Time's up. Yeah, it's very heavily implied that ended poorly. So him saving MJ in this movie pays off, even if you don't know that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you miss any of the payoffs. You miss the details of them.
Sure.
You don't feel them as much as like a fan of all those movies would feel them, but you still get it.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
That's how you do it.
People are they really, really want to dog these MCU movies. And I get why, and they deserve it, but sometimes it gets exhausting. Sometimes you just like, nah.
Yeah, it goes down to the just enjoy what you like, man.
Yeah.
That's all you got to care about.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm torn. Because like I said from the jump, I felt this on a visceral level. But then the more I turned it over in my head, the more I started seeing like different perspectives of it.
Yeah.
And ultimately came down with who gives a shit.
The MCU doesn't need to be Jaws, though.
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest thing to pull away from this.
That's it.
You know.
Right.
They're very different things. There are modern day movies that will be Jaws's in
Jaws is
50 years, you know?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Which is why I don't think any of the filmmakers in the MCU strive to make a Jaws, which you could see as a good thing or a bad thing. They're not beholden to any kind of pressure to make a masterpiece, and yet they never will because no one's
That's
pressuring
not
them
the
to
goal.
make one.
Yeah, that's not the goal.
Right.
They're just focused on...
What do you think is the closest? Obviously asking what's the best one. But not just what's the best MCU movie, because we can argue Winter Soldier or Ragnarok or Iron Man, right?
Sure.
But what's the closest to a prestige film that is like gonna go down in the annals of time? None of them will, but like what's the closest?
Well, we don't know that. There's tons of pop culture that's going to go down in like the annals of time.
No, the MCU will go down in the annals of time. Any of these individual films, I don't
Maybe
think
not.
any of them will be plucked.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, I feel like if I had to pick one, it'd be Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because of the stakes, the emotional heft of the ending, and the fact that they were able to somehow juggle all of these disparate characters from very different worlds and have them comfortably fit together.
Yeah.
And mind you, it would be this entire Infinity saga, I guess. Oh no, that's the entire thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Parts 1 and 2 is what I mean.
Yeah.
So including Endgame, if those two were together, I'd say like
For sure, that's the
definitively,
one, yeah.
definitively that's the one.
Yeah.
There are other MCU movies I enjoy more. You know, like I love Guardians 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier obviously is awesome.
Uh-huh.
But if we're talking prestige, I think character-wise, you kind of get the most for your bang for your buck with the Infinity War.
Yeah. I think it's funny that people want dog on the MCU TV shows because they're the ones really exploring these kinds of emotions and like getting more nuanced because they have time to, obviously.
Sure.
More than the movies ever did.
Yeah.
Now, to varying effect and success.
Yeah.
But they have time to explore those things where the movies just don't have enough time to explore anything more than surface level. And I think that is the problem. A movie like Jaws has all of this time because the movie is written to explore those things, not just big giant fish in sea kill man.
Yeah.
But everything else that it gets to explore in that time frame.
Yeah.
Is what makes it so good, right? And obviously the filmmaking, the fact that it was made so long ago and that it looks so good still.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, most of the time,
Right.
the shark reveals are terrible. But man, when he's just so good, dude. He just
You hear his boots squeaking on the floor.
oh,
like a
so
nightmare.
good, dude. So good. But yeah, so these movies they're like you said, they're not built to be done this way. So it's any film that you pick is like, I mean, how much can they really like? I always think about Winter Soldier because it's like it's you know, their only real like espionage, like spy film, and it works on that level. But there are some scenes like that. There's an entire chase scene on the highway that goes on for far too long. And you can take some of this stuff out where you're like, nah, did we even really need this? This movie could have been so much better if we had just like shrunk it.
Right.
And speaking of shrinking, Ant-Man is like this. People don't really, they talk about it as like the one movie that's like the small movie, the one that's like lower, but it's one of the only ones that like, it's this heist film, but it explores like the the different themes that heist films usually explore, which is why are these guys doing this,
Right.
and what's the
criminal
motivation?
element.
Yeah, and again, it's the silliness and it's the pithiness that kind of ruins the whole thing. I don't mean ruin literally, but I mean like when you're trying to make a masterpiece,
Sure.
they have to, for some reason, make it silly and goofy and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That
Well,
kind of
there are masterpiece comedies. It can be that, but I think what you're getting at is that it's trying to be so many things at once.
that is exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So I agree with that, and that's a through line through most of the MCU movies is that it always has to have this backbone of silliness enough to get us between the serious moments.
Right. It's like you don't want to scare people away
Right.
because you're trying to maximize profits. And then that's where capitalism comes in because it's so transparent that you wrote this to reach the widest
Everyone.
audience. Yeah.
This has to be good for everyone.
And it's like, just
Which-
make a thing.
Has me a little bit excited about Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like, though it has many ties to the larger MCU universe that you should know about, there are so many, what some would say complaints, others would say virtues within it, that it's a Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah.
It's a Sam Raimi horror movie.
Yeah.
So it gets very slapsticky, very silly, very graphic and gory compared to other MCU movies.
Really?
That's what I hear. That's what I hear, folks.
That's exciting.
So some people say it's actually pretty scary, some jump scares, and like it goes places that you wouldn't expect an MCU movie to go to. And they really give him the reins to fully be Sam Raimi.
Well, hell yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, give me
On
that.
board, yeah.
Give me that. I want that. As a fan of Sam Raimi,
Mm-hmm.
They say like your mileage may vary based on how much you enjoy Sam Raimi. They say I've seen a lot of Twitter talk about it. Obviously, haven't
Yeah.
seen it myself yet, but
Well, this is.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Shut up, bitch.
I couldn't hear
no,
what you said.
no.
How dare you interrupt the show?
So
Bad.
thank you. So I hear that it's gonna probably upset more MCU fans than many recent MCU movies, but it's also going to please a lot of people who were happy when Sam Raimi came aboard.
Yeah. Well, this is thoroughly a Raimi podcast, so.
Yeah, we're Raimi heads over
Uh
here.
huh. For sure.
Decapitated Raimi heads.
So if that's the case, that's fucking exciting.
Yeah, so that got me a little more juiced up for it than I was before.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it at some point.
This being the film that does that is ironic considering that tweet where the guy's like he picks this movie to be the one where he's like, what's happened to Hollywood? And this is the one where it's like Sam Raimi comes in and he's like, I'm trying to make an art movie.
Yeah.
It's funny.
They say the Danny Elfman score is awesome too, so I'm excited for that.
All right. Well, there you go, folks.
Yeah.
If you weren't sold enough on going to watch the Multiverse of Madness, well, I don't know what else to tell you. You're not one of the cool kids.
Like
One of the-
exclusionary.
Exactly. All right. We got to get into these brewskis, but before we do that, you know that we have to end this show on a high note. It's time for the cheers of the week.
Cheers of the week.
So, Obi, what's your cheers going to?
It's tough. Oh, I've got a few. That's the thing. It's all good stuff, guys. I have too many cheers.
That's never a bad thing. It's a lot of positivity.
I'm gonna do 2 half cheers.
Okay.
One is to Yo-Yo Ma and Catherine Stott.
Clink. That's half clink.
I had the pleasure of seeing Mr. Yo-Yo Ma.
It's not a girl?
No.
I know.
No, it's not. No, he's not, Margot. Catherine Stott is a woman, however. She's a pianist.
Pianist?
And
Pianist?
Yo-Yo Ma, obviously, is
pianist.
a world-famous cellist.
Cellist?
Yeah, if you guys have been listening to this podcast for a while, you know my taste in music. It doesn't often include classical.
I was about to say, are you alluding to like people should know that you're a Yo-Yo Ma fan? Because I'm like, how the fuck would they know that?
No. But I have, strangely enough, over time become a yo-yo head, a big yo-yo head.
Yeah.
He's just the most pleasant guy. He's been on like podcasts and talk shows and stuff, and he's like just a really calm, nice, like dad. You know,
Yeah.
that's what he seems like to me. Anyway, and just a virtuoso at cello.
Right.
Been playing since he was a little boy. So I saw that he was going to be playing with apparently frequent collaborator Catherine Stott, and going to be in Orlando. So Sherry, my girlfriend, big cello head, she would die to see Yo-Yo Ma. So I immediately was like, "Hey,
Killed her.
We got to go." Took her ticket, and so we went to go see Yo-Yo Ma. And I gotta say, I have to recommend all of yous out there, take time, see if Yo-Yo Ma's gonna be playing near you, or any other like classical performer of some kind, and do it. Just go, even if it's not your cup of tea. It was an incredible experience. I can't overstate how cool it was and how like surprised I was by what it was. I said was a lot. No amplification at all. Like you're just in a concert hall and the sound is coming directly from their instruments and they just play and play and play, and it's like, wow, this must have been how it was like 100, 200, 300 years ago. Just a bunch of people sitting in a room listening to music without any electronics involved. This is like really, really weird, but cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool experience.
Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, it was awesome.
All right.
So have to highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Secondly, my other half cheers is going to be to the video game Disco Elysium. Ooh, that was a clean one.
I like that one.
Disco Elysium, a game I hadn't really known about. I'd heard about, but because it won some like Game of the Year a couple years back, I think.
Yeah.
Never gave it really more than a brief glance, but it looks old school. It looks like the old Fallout games, like Fallout 1 and 2, where it's like this weird isometric view. Kind of point and click adventure style, where you just kind of go around and hit stuff and collect stuff, but it's like an RPG.
Yeah.
It's a noir cyberpunk story,
Oh, perfect.
but also has a lot of like political intrigue. You're able to select kind of who you want your character to be, but you're a detective, like by default. But you kind of are able to weave your own character through that persona in a way. Just a really unique game in 2022. A lot of people kind of put their nose up to it because apparently the developers got in this controversy because in their offices they have like communist propaganda or something. But there is politics in the game itself, but it's very much of a what side do you want to side with?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem influenced by the developers being communists. I'm using air quotes because I don't think that's necessarily true.
Yeah.
Much ado about nothing, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
anyway, the game itself is like wholly unique, almost like reading a book, but with RPG mechanics and very, very intriguing, great writing. And the definitive version that has come out on consoles, because it was originally a PC game, has like so much more voice acting in it, so you don't have to just read stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And like these characters are all very well fleshed out, and just a really, really dense, interesting world that I could easily see being like really good for like an HBO TV show or something, like one of those depths of world building that you rarely see. So I'm jazzed about it. I think you should check it out.
Hell yeah.
Very cool.
All right. One thing I can, when it comes to like separating the art from the artist,
Mm-hmm.
considering the creators of Disco Elysium, if somebody did something heinous,
Mm-hmm.
obviously that's the discussion that needs to be had, and the discussion I think we've already had.
Sure.
But if somebody thinks something that I don't agree with,
Yeah.
that's a little easier for me to be like, I don't agree, but
Well, it's like you're not going to listen to Rage Against the Machine because they have like communist propaganda in their music sometimes.
right. Well, no. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my point.
Yeah.
Their thoughts can't hurt me.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
I feel pretty confident in my political leanings.
Well, in fact, I in some instances, you would think that you would want to consume some of that media to kind of understand those aspects. Like if somebody is a decent human being, but maybe believes things that you don't agree with, wouldn't you want to at least try to understand their perspective on, like, movies that are like propaganda, for instance?
Sure.
Like, you can watch those films and decide for yourself how you feel about policing in America, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I have my mind made up on it, and so there's no movie where the cop is the hero where I go, you know what? They're not that bad. Like,
They should blow that guy up.
like, I can make up my mind for
Who
myself.
needs Miranda rights?
Exactly. I've seen a million cop movies where the cop is the hero and all he does is break the law over
Sure.
and over and over again
Yeah.
to get what he wants.
That's what makes him cool.
And yeah, propaganda works.
Not one of those regular cops. One of those cool
I'm
cops.
a cool cop. Anyway, that's not my cheers. Cheers to the cops. no.
Propaganda. Yes, no, I agree with you though. And
Right?
And to back up your claims as far as the game goes, from what I've experienced so far, they put you in really interesting points of view that expand your viewpoints on, labor laws and things like that.
Yeah.
But then also are like, nobody's ever completely clean.
Yeah.
It's not like this game is trying to push any agenda on you.
Right.
They make it very gray. All the points of view are gray.
Yeah.
So go on.
I would watch a religious movie that was trying to push a religious agenda if it was a good movie. They're always usually dog shit, and that's the problem.
Sure.
It's not that they're religious movies. It's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they suck.
Yeah, it's like Christian music.
Yeah.
It's like there's awesome Christian music, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well,
I
it's
take
fine.
that.
Yeah.
Like, what's that show that you fucking love with Justin Theroux?
Oh, yeah. The leftovers.
That's based
course.
on the rapture, right?
Yeah.
That's a religious thing.
Well, I mean, it kind of. It's a mystery. They don't completely explain that, but yes.
But the concept.
the concept of people just disappearing, yes, is based on the rapture.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people in the story, some believe that it is the rapture and take it that way. And there are cults and there's all this. I'm not going to ruin it for you guys. Go check it out.
It's an HBO show, right?
It is. Currently streaming
I
on
think I'm gonna-
HBO.
I think I might jump into that. Well, when I get done with Derek.
Please do.
I do like Justin Theroux. That man can dress. God damn, can he dress?
He doesn't need to, my friend. Have you seen those abs?
You've seen the... Yeah. Can you imagine a guy that good looking and talented, and for a long time he was just a writer? You
It's
know?
my dream.
That's great.
I want those abs when I grow up.
Well, write the thing, do the sit-ups. Maybe.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
You gotta get there.
Every paragraph, just another sit-up.
Speaking of sit-ups, that actually is a perfect segue to my cheers of the week, which is Dave Bautista. Mr. Bautista has come under fire from nerds on the internet.
Oh no, not nerds on the internet.
Because there have been some screenshots from the filming of the of Thor, and I guess some set photos of Guardians 3.
Okay.
Where he doesn't look like he's in the best shape of his life.
Okay.
First of all, these are like, they're not like high quality pictures. They're like set photos and like people who are offset, like snagging
Yeah.
pictures that they shouldn't have. And
Leaked
shit.
shots.
Yeah. And I mean, admittedly, he doesn't look like the animal Dave Batista,
Sure.
WWE champion. No, but he hasn't looked like that in a long time. He's been a bigger, thicker guy for a minute. But there's some people who are like getting on his case because he has been very forthright in that he is getting tired of being shredded all the time.
Sure.
Like, it's hard to do, especially at his age. He's in his 50s.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay shredded naturally. First and foremost, like, you know, not a lot of people can do the Dwayne Johnson thing.
It only
And
gets harder the older you get.
honestly, I don't even think Dwayne Johnson can do the Dwayne Johnson thing. If we're being fucking all the way square on
Wow.
that, if we being all the way 100 about that,
Allegedly.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
kind of hard for me to believe a guy that old, that size, is maintaining that in a let's just say healthy way.
Natural.
Yeah.
It's all chicken breast.
So it's just straight up chicken breast. Oh, and then his cheat days where he eats an entire sea's worth
An
of
entire
fish and
Cinnabon
sushi.
store.
Yeah. No, sure. No, he's doing that natural for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, definitely. I love The Rock.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Batista too, and I think he's a fantastic actor. And I think that, you know, it's fucked up people getting on his case about this. And I think that if this is truly him going, I don't want to be. Drax wears like a cut off like shirt thing now, so that's, I think that's like people were like, oh, I guess he got his wish. He gets to be fat and not have to. Because I guess he had petitioned James Gunn to like let Drax wear a shirt so he doesn't have to fucking.
Yeah.
Which again, it's like, man, you guys got your priorities all fucked up.
I
man.
would love to see the physique of everyone commenting.
Exactly. If you look like Batista, then you get to go right ahead and criticize him, sure. But if you look like we assume you look like, maybe you be quiet.
Yeah.
Because Batista's put the work in for a really long
Sure.
time. A very, very long time.
Well, and he's been doing everything he can to be a serious actor.
Yeah.
Too.
And honestly, if he lost some of the muscle mass and just looked more like a normal guy, he'd probably get more roles.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Right?
Sure. Absolutely. I think there's definitely a thing of being typecast because you're so big.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can only, especially if he plans on continuing to try to make his mark in Hollywood, I think it's a great transition. I think it's tough because, like, you know, your entire life that's been your priority is working out and trying to maintain your physique and being this action star, essentially. Mm-hmm. So it's sometimes hard to slim down and just be like, I'm just a regular guy.
Just an ordinary guy.
And I think physically it's hard for people to do that without getting kind of chunky.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of get a little flabby because all that muscle mass kind of just dissipates and you become a little chunker.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
No.
Who cares? Who cares?
Well, and also for the record, if you look at his Instagram, he still looks like he's in great shape, and these are leaked set photos, so they could just be bad angles.
I'm sure.
He might look incredible and just...
I'm sure he does. It upsets me that people are making this a thing. This is how you drive people away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is how you get actors or celebrities that you actually enjoy to just stop doing what they're doing.
Right.
Because of
and,
this
and
bullshit.
then you go, oh, what happened to Batista?
Oh, he's
Well,
such a crybaby.
yeah. People are not good.
But Dave Batista is, and we're here to celebrate.
That's right. And that's what the cheers is about. Not just
Right.
to come to the man's defense because he doesn't need me to do that, but to just to celebrate the fact that he's doing what he's doing and
Yep.
continuing to doing what he's doing. So there you go. All right.
Crisp.
Obi, what'd you think of the Cowboy Crusher from Sideward Brewing?
Had to give it one more crush.
Oh, one more crush.
I really enjoy this beer.
Yeah.
I think it's what like Budweiser's trying to be. like a regular old Budweiser, the red can.
Budweiser. Yeah.
I feel like that's what they're going for, but this is what it should be. Like, this is what it tastes like in heaven, you know? So, I mean, it's not doing anything crazy, but you get a little malt. It is very drinkable. I could see me having this on a hot summer's day with some hot dogs. But, you know, one thing we always go back to is, does it do what it sets out to do? And I think it does do what it's supposed to do. It does what it does.
It does what it does.
And for that, I'm going to give this brew a 5.
Hey, it's getting that 5.
Also, can art. You know, you got to respect the can
You
art.
respect the can art for sure. You got to, the light kind of,
Oh.
you still can't really see it 'cause the lighting's not.
Well, we'll have a picture on the Instagram. Don't worry about it.
Cowboy Crusher. I think, man, I just kind of feel like I have to agree with you. I don't know.
Oh, darn.
Can you imagine that? But I do think, I mean, for everything, fuck it, you said everything I was gonna say. Excuse me. A rye lager, you're not really expecting too much, but a well-balanced, crushable guy. I mean, I don't know. Does a high score only is a high score only reserved for beers where they go above and beyond and try to like do something never seen before, or is it just the balance of the flavors and like we've said on the show before, like, hey, this is a stated thing. Do you get the notes? Do you get everything that we said you're supposed to get? Well, you did. Then the artist made the art, and we appreciated the art and understood everything that was put out, right?
Yeah, they understood the assignment.
Yeah. So, I'm going to give it a 5 also.
Very nice.
So a unanimous 5 for the Cowboy Crusher from Sideward Brewing.
You'll love to see it.
You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, then let's get the freak out of here. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, boy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have a beautiful evening.
We love you.